But yeah, you had this garage back there, and we kind of alluded to it when we started the episode. But you're building a car called the RP Flyer. How about we just talk about that?
Yeah, we could jump right into that. 2019, my dad and I went to a vintage drag race that happens on the beach in New Jersey. It's all pre-war. Cars are put together with pre-war parts. Nothing aftermarket, nothing new, used, new, bought from online kind of thing. So we left, and I said, you know what? I want to do that. It kind of just went in the back of my mind. Then COVID and all that other stuff happened, and I started finally collecting parts last year. It's been snowballing. So I had this whole pile of parts, and then turns out like none of it would work. The main race that I want to do, the one that's on the beach called the Race of Gentlemen in New Jersey. Very, very strict rules on what the car can look like, what the car can be used, parts can be used on the car and stuff like that. So following their rules, because I want to get on that race, but there's also other races around the East Coast that are not as strict. So I figure once I do that one, the car will be good for all of them.
Yeah.
So the parts that I had, I couldn't, it was a 1919 Model T, and I was trying to use Model A parts from newer, but still in the 30s. And I just...
So you said 1919?
Yeah, that was my original. Yeah. But the original rolling chassis I had was a 1919, pulled out of the woods, got it for free.
Wow.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I still had the original wooden spoke wheels on it that looked like wagon wheels. Yeah, no, the thing was nuts. And I couldn't... It actually was in really good shape for being over 100 years old, but I just couldn't get the newer parts to work with it as safe as I wanted it to be. So I scratched the bones of that project, and then I picked up what's behind me. I have it's a 3031 chassis, the rolling chassis. So the axles, the chassis, the brake system, it's all mechanical brakes. The motor is early 1928 motor and transmission. The body that's on it is actually a 1927. So it's kind of like what I could get my hands on, like I'm trying to build it cheap.
Yeah.
Because when it's done and I'm done racing it, then I'm going to sell it and give all the money to Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Wow.
So, which I've already talked to them. They know about it. The project's on their radar. It'll be a surprise, but it won't be a surprise. You know what I mean? Like they know about it now. And I've been out here almost every night when the kids go to bed, and just weekends and just plugging away at it. Friends come over, help out. So it's a pretty good time.
Yeah, it sounds like a really fun project to kind of take a break from, your daily task.
Yeah.
Being a parent, work, and you come out and kind of, it's probably clears your head, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 1930s it's funny because you're like, oh, I went from a 1919, that was too old. But then I made this 1930s one work.
Yeah.
It's funny that 11 years, that's so old. It's almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
And then all the other parts are from different eras and times.
Yep.
Because you're kind of pulling different parts and making them work for you, because you said you want to keep the budget cheaper to kind of maximize the profit. Because when you sell it, you're going to donate all the money to Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Just going to swap meets, going to car shows that people are like selling old parts out of their trunks kind of thing, like cleaning out their garages. I went up to New Hampshire. A guy's grandfather had passed away, and he had like a barn full of parts. So we went and dug through, and I found parts from there. So, I mean, we traveled, my dad's been helping a lot because of the RP not driving.
Yeah.
So we just load my dad's pickup truck up with stuff every time we go out. And
Yeah.
so we drove like 2 hours into Connecticut, almost into New York City. We were like a couple exits up.
Wow.
And picked up, that's where the frame came from. And then the body was up near Boston. So that was about a little over an hour away. So like it's just, we went to New Hampshire. We went 3.5 hours up into New Hampshire.
And you're based in Rhode
Yeah,
Island,
yeah,
right?
I'm in Rhode Island. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's New England,
Yeah.
but yeah, like 3.5 hours up into New Hampshire just to find like the shocks that I needed and a couple of little odds and ends in some guy's collection. You know what I mean? Like it's just that's the other part of the
Yeah.
fun of it, though. Like just what can I find today? What can I wheel and deal? You know?
So you enjoy the kind of process of seeking out certain parts and kind of traveling to go get them.
Oh yeah, yep.
I personally, I feel like that would stress me out for some reason. I don't. Maybe we have different personalities for that type. Because I'd be like, what if I drive all the way there and they don't have anything I need?
Yeah.
You know, like it would be like, that seems like would take up so much time as it is. And then on top of that, you're taking those parts and then building them. Like I said, it's kind of proof of how nice of a dude you are. You're doing all this and you're even spending some of your own money in your free time just to fundraise money for Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Sure.
And I know not all of it's coming out of your pocket, right? You've had some fundraising help so far.
What do they call that? Well, it's a GoFundMe, but I mean, what do they call that? Crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding,
yeah. So, and I wasn't originally trying to do that. Like I was selling old parts. I was selling stuff I had, like, because again, trying to keep the low budget just because I didn't want to spend a lot to do this.
Yeah.
And I went on another podcast and I was talking about it. And one of the guys was like, well, do you have a GoFundMe? We'll share it. And I said, no. And I explained why. And he said, well, it's for a fundraiser though. So it's not like you're not begging for money. You're not like panhandling for yourself. You're trying to raise money for this project for a good cause. And I said, yeah. And once it clicked, like thinking of it that way and not just thinking of like me begging for money. I started the GoFundMe, which has definitely helped because I mean, not that I'm going out and finding like the most expensive stuff still, but
you're going to use 93, the level 93 gas or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
You know, the most expensive
in the car to go find the parts.
I always use the 80s.
Yeah.
The 87 gas.
87. But yeah, so it's definitely helped. I mean, the project definitely started really taking off once I did all that. So.
And is that still available, the crowdfunding?
Yes. Yeah. It is still, I mean, the goal that I had set, I met pretty quick. So I upped it and it hasn't met the second goal yet, but we're actually pretty close.
All right. Just so people don't feel like, oh, he's already met his goal. You still have plenty to do.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
yeah.
If they donated it, you would be useful.
Yep. Yeah. Because there's also, like, I mean, if there is anything extra, it goes in to the lump sum at the end anyway.
Yeah.
There is a goal that I had in my head. If it goes past that, then like it just gets added on at the end anyway. So it's just, you're donating to Foundation Fighting Blindness. So.